I should sit over maybe to the side.
Mirror in the mirror, Spiegel and Spiegel. Our whole part composed the musical equivalent of an image, repeated in infinite regression, receding to the vanishing point. He named this style tintinnabulum for the Latin word for a bell, which you hear the case study picture's left hand many times throughout. His reflections on inspiration may ring familiarly. Tintinnabulation is an area I sometimes wander into when I'm searching for answers. In my life, my music, my work. In my dark hours, I have a certain feeling that everything outside this one thing has no meaning. The complex and many-faceted only confuse me, and I must search for unity. What is it? This one thing. How do I find my way to it? Traces of this perfect thing appear in many guises, and everything that is unimportant falls away. We are met in common purpose and desire, tied by our bonds of blood to Jane, tied by our bonds of affection for her, tied by our bonds of mutual attraction to her ideal of the good. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but we, the living, will never forget how our lives have been changed by her. Sandy Andrews will give us the opening prayer, followed by Bruce Craner. Sorry.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, please bless all those who are here today to honor Jane Kopp. Make us alert to your presence here in this beautiful church and within all our hearts. We pray with respect and love for Jane, who meant so much to all of us. We know she is with you in blissful awareness and peaceful Jane is the beloved mother of Zachary, Kopp, and to those of us here and to many dispersed about this country, she has been a beloved minister, spiritual teacher, and friend. Jane had a rare gift that she shared with all of us. We are deeply grateful to you for giving us the opportunity to know Jane and to experience her wisdom, compassion, and love. Jane is deeply connected with the divine, and it was her wish that all of us recognize our own divine nature. We pray, dear Lord, that we can bring forth what we have learned from her, that we can bring forth the divine in ourselves and recognize you in all of creation. There is only one reality. There is one presence. There is one love. Amen.
I have two readings. The first one, with apologies to William Henry Channing, I'm going to change the title to James. To live content with small means, to seek elegance rather than luxury, and refinement rather than fashion. To be worthy, not respectable, and wealthy, not rich. To study hard, think quietly, talk gently, act frankly, to listen to stars and birds and babes and sages, to bear all cheerfully, to all bravely await occasions never heard. In a word, to let the spiritual unbidden and unconscious grow up through the common. This is just a little flavor of James Sidney. And this from William Penn. They that love beyond the world cannot be separated by it. Death cannot kill what never dies. Nor can spirits ever be divided that love and live in the same divine principle. The root and record of their friendship. If absence be not death, neither is theirs. Death is but a crossing the world, as friends do the seas. They live in one another still, for they must needs be present that love and live in that which is omnipresent. In this divine glass, they see face to face, and their converse is free as well as pure. This is the comfort of friends, that though they may be said to die, yet their friendship and society are, in the best sense, ever present, because immortal.
Zach Kopp will begin our memories and remembrances.
Huskies on there. That's change. Thank you for that beautiful music. Thanks everyone for coming today. Thank you, Springtime, for coming back to Denver. Happy springtime to you all. I wasn't sure what to say today, and I've been writing a book recently. This is something, we started over a long time ago. I wrote a poem called The Total Work of Art. The idea being that every poet is always trying to write the more artistic thing, the more fully realized artistic expression. And that applies to painters, musicians, comedians, any form of expression. Everyone is always trying to do the utmost, the total version. And I've been writing a book recently, concurrently with my mother's illness and her passing, and what's to be next. And that phrase came back to me, the total work of art, and I understood a new meaning for it, which was that your life is your opportunity to do something worth dying for. And your life is your art, is your canvas. And I can't think of very many people who definitely lived a work of art. And I will have to say my mother is my example for one who did so, one who lived a total work of art. And let that be her legacy to us all. And in all the ways she meant something to us individually. Let us take that as an inspiration and do the utmost with our lives, whatever it is we're after, whatever it is we're trying to contact or express or etc. Let's make it complete. And I think that's about it. But thanks, Ivy, that recently joined us here. Ivy Scheinberg recently joined our group. And thanks to the dogs. Thanks, Althea. Thanks, everyone who's here today. And anyone else who has something to say about my mother, now is your opportunity. You're invited.
And hey to Carl.
Hold that thought. Thank you, Zach, for adding to my remembrance and appreciation for your mother. I do nothing but go about persuading you all, old and young alike, not to take thought in your persons or your properties, but and chiefly to care about the greatest improvement of the soul. Now, that's Socrates sounding off. But for me, he described Jane's work in the world as I experienced her. She was an inspired, relentless investigator of the heart. Because the unexamined life is not worth living. We are met in this place, this church, where she and Carl taught for some 25 years or more. Their teaching is a part of the architecture of this place. After the stage was installed, she spoke in services from the floor in front of the stage. Perhaps when all the world is stage and everyone on it are but walking shadows and poor players. That matters of the heart must be spoken face to face and heart to heart. The heart was the object of her ministry. Knowledge was the bait and the hook. And there was no spitting that hook. Jane educated in its root sense of the word. To educate is to lead, guide, reveal, expose to the outside. It's the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Jane was profoundly adept at educating both. Her professional life and accomplishments reflected the esteem of her colleagues and students, and the congregation reflected the esteem we all had for her. Please read her nephew Mark's touching tribute. It's posted on the Brandon Mortuary website. It's on Legacy. I always learn something from these things, even when I think I know the person really well. Now, for instance, I never knew that Jane hated Strauss's opera Salome. Who knew? I'm sure we'll learn more from each other in the reception in the dining room after the conclusion of our service. We are worked on by what we work on. Jane gave us habits and practices to recondition the mind. She urged us on with imperatives to their purpose and assured us that we would know, that we have experienced and we will continue to experience directly beauty. The light of the body is the eye. I will always remember how Jane looked and smiled when she said beauty. That which we care about comes into being, passes away, comes into being. Change is law. Change is the actual locus of our lives. Time merely counts its passage. It is for us to remain dedicated to our unfinished work which she so far and patiently advanced, and through which our lives are becoming at least partially examined. Now, if you wish to share your remembrance, Judith and Barbara have microphones for you to use. Please, someone has to be first.
I can be first. I'm Barbara Vale, and I've been coming here since 1996. And I came for a class that Jane was teaching on the Artist's Way, and stayed ever since. And when I heard that Jane was in her time of transition, I definitely wanted to go see her. I hadn't been taking any classes in the interim, but I just had an affinity for Jane. And I asked Katie Kurtz, if I went over there and visited, what flowers do you think I should take? And she said, well, I know she likes hydrangeas. And so I went to the store and I happened to find some, and then I was thinking about them at home and thinking about the bulbs the bulbs for hydrangeas, don't they grow into bushes? And I had gotten hyacinths. I went back the next day and got some hydrangeas, and then I went over and we had the greatest chat. I stayed there for over an hour, had some ice cream, many of you know she loves, and took the hydrangeas and the hyacinths, and told her that I'm on the board right now at Althea, and I thought that we just need to have some kind of remembrance here for her in some, and also for Carl, because there isn't anything here that's specifically for Carl either. And that with Katie's idea of the hydrangeas, that we could plant some hydrangea bushes, which are now planted in the newly becoming memorial garden right outside on the west side. And there are two of them. There's a periwinkle blue one and pink-red. It changes during the season. So we're hoping that that's going to be a memorial garden that people who can put other plants in there for their loved ones who have a connection to Althea. Anyway, I'll stop there. You can go out and see them and plant them the other day. They're just little so far. Hopefully they'll grow, and I think they'll be really stunning inside. Who's next? Come on, I know you have a lot of memories. Oh, right here. Good. Come on. Oh, you can't. She wants to do that. Okay. So.
I'm not used to talking in the big days, but this is a very special place for me. It brings back so many meaningful memories. I first found this church when I was looking for a lovely place to get married for my second marriage in the early 90s. And I loved the feel of it. And I remember the whole family standing there, including me and my groom, who's no longer my groom. But as I got acquainted with the congregation, the approach to life, I was so intrigued and got to really love Carl and Jane. And I had obviously gone through a divorce. And my son was in ninth grade and dropped out. He was struggling writer already in ninth grade, and Carl was a wonderful mentor to him. Just such a wonderful male figure. I remember later studying Robert Bly or different things about being a man that were so pivotal to him as a teenager. And Carl took so much care in getting to know him as a person. It was really special. Then I got to know Jane too, and I took a number of classes, and I think the first one was on love. I still have my notes on that. And I think that through the years, what I remember most, in spite of all her degrees in study, was her gentleness, her love. Just, she could speak and look at you with love. It's an incredible thing to have somebody that really has such a mind and has studied so much, and she could have had this, arrogance or, no matter what we said, she never acted like, oh, you need to know about this or that. She just shared love. And my son was a little younger than Zach and aware of him, but it just felt like family, and to be back at this church is just a beautiful experience. So, 2 years ago, during COVID, I was in the neighborhood where she lives, and a friend of mine walked over in the springtime with all the blossoms, and she was out gardening, and had the most wonderful photo of her with her shovel.
Judith, that's what we get here. Okay. Susie?
Oh, I knew Jane for a long, long time and aggravated her a lot. And she let me know when I was aggravating her, but I don't think she knew at first that I enjoyed it. So we kept up with that a lot. But I love her, I miss her, and I'm sure she misses me.
I'm Jane's nephew, but she was much more than an aunt to me. My first memory of her is from a visit in the summer of 1968. And we've been close friends ever since that visit when I was 6 years old. And as I think she did for many of you, she changed my life so much for the better and taught me so much. And I just kind of want to leave this image that when you drop a stone in the water, the ripples keep spreading outwards. And I feel that Jane is still with us, and that the ripples she set in motion are still in motion. And that's the thought I want to leave with.
I started coming here when I was 9. And I first observed Jane from up there. We'd have our little children's classes in the back hall and come out and watch what was happening through the banister. But I got to know her much better after I went away to college and came back, and I was working on my thesis. And it happened to involve 2 subjects that Jane knew an awful lot about. And that was yoga and the philosophies of yoga and the community. And I was struggling to put this paper together and understand the threads that I could barely grasp at. And we had this wonderful conversation about authenticity, which she made me realize was one of the most important ingredients in community, and how much she respected and encouraged everyone's authenticity. And I remember shortly after that, she invited a girl that I knew, Laura Colhammer, to live here at the church. And it invited a whole wild new branch of community into the church that I hadn't seen before. The New Dinner Orchestra was playing music here. And I was just blown away, marveled at how she could continue to find new community and bring new people into this community and help them find their own authenticity and their spiritual pursuits.
Educated at Brown's and Oxford, it was Jane's very light lectures that drew me to this church in the aughts, and the center of the deal with the beautiful music she selected every Sunday. Much of the music we heard today is just heaven, and I miss her greatly, I truly do. So I think she will always be in my thoughts so long as I attend this church.
Thank you. I'm Ed. This is Eric Ranaldi. I've known Jane for almost 30 years since became friends with Zach. And I just wanted to offer my appreciation for her knowledge, her wisdom, her kindness, her calmness, and for being there for Zach. And I think her legacy will live on, and her privilege of helping Zach go through her library, and it just reinforces just the depth and breadth of her learning. That is a lifelong process that is truly an inspiration. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Marilyn. And I was in Jane's improv class. And maybe something you would do. That's the most fun I ever had with Jane. What she did was bring in scenes, sketches for us to do, and, we act them out. So, and this one that I did, she laughed so hard. It was just fun. So, I had gone to a new hairdresser. And I hadn't told my old hairdresser, of course, someone else played my old hairdresser. And I met her on the street. And so I did things like, she said, "Hi, how are you?" I said, "What? I don't think I know you." "Who are you?" And she said, "Well, I'm your old hairdresser." I said, "Oh, okay." She said, "Didn't you get your hair cut?" I said, "No, I haven't gotten my hair cut. It looks just the same." Anyway, on and on like that. It was so much fun, and she laughed so hard, I couldn't believe it. It was just fun. Thank you.
Well, I wasn't going to talk about this, but Marilyn and Ron, Mary Peckham had a psychodrama group going here one time in which you played different roles, and you got to, the director, which I think was Mary, decided who would play a certain role, and she picked Jane to be Diana Ross with the screams. Amazing. She did the whole stop and it was, I just have two quotes that I found that just summed up what everyone else has been saying. This was in Stephen Levine's book called Who Dies? And it's about Ramana Maharshi. As he lay dying, his devotees asked him to heal himself. He declined. The devotees implored, "Please don't leave us. To which he softly replied, leave. Where is there to go? And then there's one other thing that just, this was a fluke last night. I got an email from Catherine DeVoe. A lot of you know her. She was on the board with me for a while, and a very good friend, James, living in Mexico now, and traveled back to Mexico and stopped together and met with Jane in February. And she emailed me about that last night. I was emailing her to say, you're down, come to the service, you know, and she said, well, Jane, in her own way, when I look out in the world, where will I find you? And Jane paused and said, good question. When you look into the eyes of another, you will find me there.
I wasn't sure what I was going to say, and I'm not quite sure how to characterize my presence here. I play Irish music. I play, you're not going to hear it in a concert hall, but you actually did hear it right there in like 2004, 2005. I played in an Irish band, and Carl had me in the band I play in play Irish music here. The year later, Carl died. 15 years later, I started following. This is so weird. I started following my interest in Hinduism. And I live in Colorado. I live in Colorado Springs. I said, no, I'm not going to go to India. You know, I want to find somebody local. So, Colorado, Hinduism, boop. Here's Jane Kopp. I said, man, that name sounds familiar. Colorado. Oh yeah, I used to play Divine Science. Bingo. So I joined Jane's Wednesday night group. I have to say, I have more enthusiasm than erudition. I think I'm with you. I think I gave her my share of consternation and trying to keep me in place. But there were other people on that Wednesday night advisory group. You might know Peter Miller, and some of you know her. Right, so he's there in Vermont. And then there's Will, his last name, and he's in Vermont. And then there was Jean, who lives in Vermont. And now she's living here with me. Someone please try to talk some sense into her. So year after joining the advisor group, Jane is memorialized by high treasure. So maybe you should ask me to leave.
Betty wants to be the last one, so anyone else before Betty?
Mark, I'll say one.
I'll say one.
Here, and I'm going to speak through people. Yeah.
You know, it's just such a lovely, lovely memories are just pouring through. And Jane is really responsible for my being here. Because how many decades ago, I shouldn't say decades, but she brought Deborah Schmidt-Bogus and Gusty Christensen on Didgeridoo and myself. And she loved us. I guess you guys loved us. And from that point on, Deb and I were here once a month until Deb went to another church gig that was full time, and I continued on. So it's Jane's fault that I get to know all of you. So thank you.
So like Kathleen and I, in the late 80s, we were for a place to land with our children. It was not fall redemption. And we were searching, we were going to unity churches and doing that sort of thing. How we ran into divine science, I don't quite remember. But we landed here, and Jay and Carl were just two remarkable individuals. And I'm still here. I put one thing, I remember I used to tell Carl, Carl, we put up with you so we can get to Jane. And then he'd swear. But, so I come down here, and I'm a plumber by trade. And I come to this little community filled with teachers and lawyers and professors. And they put me on the board because I was the only one who knew how to work on a Thursday. And over the years, especially early on, I did do big courses before Zoom kids that had this thing. But I would do classes with Jane. And then the work of the church, I was part of the board for, a dozen years or so. And, the struggles that a small community has, and, the conversations that you have at a board, and the approach that Jane always had, which was, people speak of authenticity, and her heart, and how she was able to, throughout all those struggles and decisions, big decisions, what are we going to do with this and that, what a broken, all freaking buildings frozen, But, those board meetings and those interactions on not a spiritual type of plane, but on a real business kind of a plane. And, and yet there was Jane's presence. And she brought that kind of authenticity to it. And, one thing that really, for me, Jane, is her acceptance of me. As a lot of people are a little bit different. And especially, from back east and, all that stuff. And she was authentically, she loved me. And she would somehow enjoy being around. I never could figure it out. I always felt like an imposter, but yet Jane always had me feeling so comfortable and accepted, and as her hearing was being lost, and she would be interested in what I had to say. And I'd be remarkable that she really cared what I had to say.
And we are amazed by that.
Yes, I am too. And then also I worked with the Brooks Divinity School and being on that board and having these wonderful meetings that were basically a potluck down at Jane's house. And we would gather and just rubber stamp whatever she had going on. And back in the day when we had those meetings up at Cindy's place up outside of Fort Collins and going up into the hills and just being with Carl and Jane and my spiritual community family. And to this day, this building is my spiritual community. And it is a treat to witness non-judgmentally what this community is becoming these days and how it's changing and morphing into what it needs to be today, but yet still carrying that core of which Carl and Jay carried for 25 years. And, there are teachers in my life. All of you are my teachers. But some teachers resonate much stronger than others. And Carl Kopp was one of those fellas, and absolutely Jane Kopp will always hold a special place in my heart.
Is it going to be Betty?
You need to open the mic up.
Oh. Hi, girl. I brought with me a little book
memorial service for Jane look at carrying her memory on into the future, even when all of us are gone now? I would like to propose that the church look into the possibility of republishing this book. It's copyrighted to Jane Kopp, so it will be part of her estate. It should not be difficult to get permission from the state to do that. And it's a wonderful book. It covers all kinds of subjects. It's like sitting down and just talking with Jane. So I'm proposing that the board look into the possibility of publishing this book, which should be a hot seller in the That's all. I need to erase some passages that I've underlined. I'd be happy to give this to the church for the purpose of publication.
Betty will be very happy to know that we have copies of Jane's book in the dining room. They're for a donation sale. So, but I'll take that to the board. Okay, was Betty really the last one? All right. Mike or Tom?
applause long enough. Now we'll have a reading by Mary Dick, followed by benediction by Catherine Rose.
Thank you, Mike, for that moment to get on the stage. I not have to test my knee. Okay, hello. I'm here to tell you that Betty Maxwell is not a plant. However, I am here to tell you some things from this book. I've been a student of Jane's for somewhat embarrassingly long time, given my progress. And a while ago, she told us about that profound, disorienting, and prolonged spiritual experience she had when she was a young woman. It actually kind of came out inadvertently, I think. I think she was trying to make a point and wanted to get our attention. But she said that at that time, when she had this experience, she lacked a context for understanding what had happened to her. And I think that the primary focus of her ministry and her teaching revolved around the mystery underlying that early experience and her desire to share it and to invite us to find paths to a similar sort of thing. I've excerpted, I keep thinking, Jane's up there saying, I can't believe you hacked up my text. But I have excerpted the epilogue to this book, Your Mind is Like the Sky, which was published here, and it contains her talks, and I hope this offers a glimpse into what I think she was getting at when she shared about that experience with us. And as people mentioned, there are copies that we found that are still available. So here we go. One bleak Tuesday afternoon, I stopped at a restaurant to pick up a takeout order for supper. It was almost Thanksgiving. Because of the magnetic attraction of the big holidays, it didn't feel quite like an ordinary Tuesday. The place is not crowded. The kind of food I was ordering had to have been cooked hours before. I did not expect to have to wait, but I found myself waiting quite a while. I was waiting for my takeout food, and I was waiting for Thanksgiving, and I was waiting for Christmas. Waiting. We wait all the time. We wait at red lights, we wait in doctors' waiting rooms, and we wait on hold. We wait in driving lines, in checkout lines, and in security checkpoint lines. We wait for babies to be born, and we wait for surgeries to heal. In winter, we wait for spring. We wait for enlightenment, for transcendence. It could be said that this life is a waiting room in which at any given time, each one is waiting for something different. Most of us don't do waiting very well. It exasperates us, interfering with the momentum of our ego's business. And to the ego, of course, its business is all that matters. I usually carry something to read in case I have to wait. If I don't have something with me, I read whatever I can lay my hands on. The newsletter of the Windows Screen Manufacturers Association, for example. But that Tuesday, I started being irritated, and reading to avoid being irritated were both ways to avoid having a full and conscious experience of waiting. I decided to undertake a contemplation of waiting. So I began silently, mentally, repeating to myself the mantra, there is only one waiting. There is only one waiting. I then had the kind of experience of time that I had felt so robbed of in recent years. Suddenly, time became spacious and infinite like the ocean. Suddenly, time was mysterious, and suddenly time was blessed. When my order was ready, I was actually disappointed. People all over the earth in that moment were caught up in some kind of waiting. People in Kansas, in New York, Buenos Aires, Calcutta, all of us together, waiting, were part of the same cosmic mystery, all under the same delusion of waiting. At the same time, one was waiting for all of us, namely the mystery, the divine and cosmic unity in which we are all one. The thought came to me, waiting only for the children of God to awaken to themselves, to one another, and to the mystery.
For to that which is born, death is certain. And to that which is dead, birth is certain. But the great, birthless one is undecaying, immortal, undying, fearless, and infinite. May we be kind for all our days. Let us vow to remember that all that appears will disappear. In the midst of uncertainty, let us so love. Let us together live the great peace that we are.
And her activity next to coming if anybody needs a little enthusiasm.
Reception to follow.
I was waiting.